Hi there, BookTube. It's Nathan, the Rambling Reviewer, so called because I tend to ramble a lot. Uh, and today I'm hoping to make a relatively rambleless video, hoping to keep this around 10 minutes. Uh, for New Worlds November, I went to the library today to pick up something. And while there, I picked up a bunch of other New Worlds November sources, and I bought a few books from their uh, library book sale. And I just wanted to talk about them here. Now, for those who don't know, New Rules November is an event that I am co-hosting this year, along with a bunch of other booktubers that kind of run the gamut in terms of science fiction literacy, from the extremely science fiction literate Sean D. Standfast, Matt over at Science Fiction Reads, Steve Donahue makes everybody a relative newcomer in every subject, just by his sheer capacity and repertoire of reading. And some who are relative newcomers, like Mark over at Book Time with Elvis, and myself, who has read some science fiction, but it's not nearly as uh, experienced as like the people I just mentioned. And we also run all the gamut of our styles, and I just love that. But we have categories that we are going into each week. First week is terrestrial science fiction, anything set on Earth. Second week is extraterrestrial. Third week is classic, anything before 1965. And fourth week is robots and AI. We also have an extra credit to read a story and then consume adaptation of that story. And we have a baker's dozen of prompts and MacGuffins to try to find in the books we read, like time travel, alien romance, alien archaeology, alternative history, etc. I will, of course, link all of that information down below, all the co-hosts, including the ones that I did not mention here, and all of the prompts and categories. But I figure I'll just jump right into it. So the reason I was actually going there today was to pick up this. Again, Dangerous Visions by Harlan Ellison. This is an anthology of original science fiction that was published in, when was this published? I think it was like 76, 77? I think that was 72. And one of the stories was talked about by Greg over at another Bibliophile Reads that was in the bar, in which we were discussing because of I was trying to figure it out because I was wanting to do a video in the I'm going to do a video in the future. I think me and Gareth both want to do a video on this about science fiction and other speculative fiction that looks into animal rights. And I found the story on a forum, didn't have a name, was incorrectly credited as being authored by John W. Wyndham, the author of Day of the Triffids and The Midwich Cuckoos, which is the inspiration for Village of the Damned, and a bunch of other stuff. But Greg corrected that and said that was a Piers Anthony story called In the Barn, which is in this volume, in which I want to read. But I may also read some other stuff out of this. Past that, the anthologies I checked out are all stuff that I'm not sure as of yet whether and when I will read from them. I might actually do some looking into them later after I've read some actual stories, but the next one is The Best of Frederick Pohl, who is an author I've not read yet. Who I don't really know anything about, to be honest. Then, perfect for the fourth week, Robots and AI, I got The War with the Robots. 28 of the best short stories by the greatest names in 20th century science fiction. And there's a lot in here from Isaac Asimov, keep flipping too many pages. Ambrose Bierce, John Wyndham again, Harry Bates, Lester Del Roy, A. Von Vo, Murray Leinster, Paul Anderson, Philip K. Dick, Arthur C. Clarke, Robert Silverberg, Gene Wolfe, and some other authors. But this is a big, fat volume. Actually, not as fat as I thought it was. Only about 600 pages long. But a perfect resource, I think, for the fourth week of New Worlds November, which is all focused on AI and robots. I got, speaking about Philip K. Dick, I got his 4 novels. And this has The Man in the High Castle, The Free Stigmata of Palmer Eldritch, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, and Ubek? Ubek? I think it's Ubek. Ubek, yes. I am definitely planning on reading one story in here at least, and that is The Free Stigmata of Palmer Eldritch, which is a really weird and really cool sounding name, kind of encompassing religion and Lovecraftian cosmic horror in the name. I chose that story originally because of Evil Afon. I looked it up online. I was looking up for 90s horror, and I had read somewhere this was 90s, but it's not. It's a 65 story. But either way, I had written it down as an Evil Afon story. I now realize that I don't have to have stories that were actually written in the 90s, but I still want to read it. For the record, Evil Fawn is another booktube event in November that I'm hoping to take part in. It is being hosted by Kasha over at Kasha's Book Cemetery, and the goal is to kind of extend the Halloween season into November, read horror books, all based on prompts from 90s horror movies. So that's where the misunderstanding came in, where I thought that I had to read books that were themselves from the 90s. But the prompt for science fiction horror that The Free Stigmata of Palmer Eldritch would accomplish is Event Horizon, sorry. So I will at least read that one. I may also read some of those stuff. I started reading Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep last year. Didn't finish it, but since I just finished Frankenstein the other day, I think that would be a fun read to go along with Frankenstein, and it would fit in well for my AI week, which I don't have a longer work yet for that. I also got the last one is I have another book there, but that's something I've had for a while. Is Blank. Okay, it's actually the John Wyndham omnibus, which has 3 stories by him. Day of the Triffids, The Kraken Wakes, and The Chrysalids. Now, I believe these are all under 250 pages. But I'm only planning on reading one, that's Day of the Triffids, because I have gotten that recommended to me by various booktubers so much. David White did a video on it, Michael K. Vaughan did a video on it, and in the Voxer, it's been recommended by several other booktubers, several of the hosts for this event, so I want to read Day of the Triffids. Now, those are all the books I checked out. I also bought some stuff. When I got there, the first thing that I saw was a stack of analog science fiction magazines. All from late 90s, early 2000s. I didn't buy many of them. I only bought one of the actual normal magazines, and that's because they were all $2 a piece, and I didn't really want to spend that much. I didn't have that money to spend at that moment. I did buy one, however, which incidentally is the 70th anniversary issue. I say incidentally because when I grabbed it, the reason I grabbed it was not for that. The reason I grabbed it was because it has a Hal Clement story. And so, final plug of the video, also in November, there is an event going on called Howl for the Holiday, which is being hosted by Brandy, the Booklectic, one of my co-hosts for New Worlds November, alongside Scott Bryant from the Bookish Bryants, who is leading the charge for New Worlds November. Scott Danielson, who is also part of New Worlds November, and Sean D. Standfast, who is also part of New Worlds November. And the goal is just to read Hal Clement stories in the months. In November, December, and January, 2 each month. And I already have one book read. I've already have one book picked out. And that is Noise. And so this will work good because it will be one other story I can read before I get one of his longer anthology collections. But on top of that stack of analog magazines was an analog anthology edition, which is which was published in 1981. It's called 50 Years of the Best, and so it's just 25 stories that the editor is picking out as being good representations of 50 years of analog magazines. And there are stories in here by Theodore Sturgeon, Isaac Asimov, Robert A. Heinlein, Stanley G. Weinbaum, who wrote The Martian Odyssey, which I read last year and quite enjoyed. Didn't love, but I did enjoy it. John W. Campbell, Lesprague de Camp, A.E. Van Vo, Paul Anderson, Ben Bova, and several other writers, so quite a nice looking anthology. Most of these stories would fit for the Classic Week. A few of them are in the 70s, but most of them are 60s and earlier. In fact, all the stories except for 7 would fit for that week. Besides that, I'm not sure where I would put these stories in, but I probably will read out of this somewhat. And speaking of Paul Anderson, I got a book by Paul Anderson, another writer who I've not read, and this is There Will Be Time, which I looked up online, and is apparently about a man who can travel through time. And it is just under 200 pages long, so it would work for week 1 terrestrial, or does it work for week 3 classic? I can't find a date for this. I'll have to figure that out later. It might work for classic also. But yeah. There's that. I also found a Robert Silverberg story. Another writer who I've not read. See, very much relative newbie in terms of, especially classic science fiction, which is Kingdoms on the Wall, and I love this cover. This is a very nice edition. This is the first edition of the book. Uh, very pretty. I know this is about an alien world, and like I think it said something about they were trying to climb a wall or something. This book, however, would not work for New World's November because it is over 300 pages long. I mean, I may still read it either way, but it wouldn't technically work for New World's November. And then the last two are some really classic science fiction, both by the same author. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne, which I've been meaning to reread for a while. This is not. I don't think this is a abridged version, but very nice little copy of it. Very small, but quite nice. And then a dusty old beaten paperback, a Bantam paperback of The Mysterious Island, also by Jules Verne, also science fiction. And this is only 200 pages long, so it would also work for New World November, and it would definitely work for Classic or Terrestrial. So that is all the books I got. And in true booktube fashion, I need to now try to show you all of them at once. Hopefully, without dropping them. Alright. Ooh. Okay. So, that is my haul. I will, again, link everything down below, both for New World's November and Half of the Holidays, but also for Evil-a-thon, since I mentioned it here. But I hope you're all having a great day. I hope you're all reading, which I will be doing in just a moment. Anyways, bye, BookTube.